Tomorrow I should be hitting my first 100-mile ride, so I figured I'd bring you along with me and show you how it goes. So it's not guaranteed that I am going to hit 100 miles because it's a time-based workout where it's 5 hours and 20 minutes. But if everything goes according to plan, I should be hitting around 110 miles. If I don't, this whole video is just a sham and I'm not even going to post it. But I'm fairly certain that I'm probably going to be getting around 110-ish miles. I'm fairly confident I'll hit at least 100. So the plan is I'm currently out of all my fuels, so my gels, my maple syrup gummies. Mainly I'm going to be bringing my drink mixes. So I got maltodextrin, and then I got pure fructose, and then I currently have 5 bottles. I'm planning on doing about a 55-ish mile route where I'm going to loop it and then I'll come back home because I can only carry 3 bottles on my bike. So I'm planning on carrying 3 bottles. Each bottle is going to have 60 grams of maltodextrin, 48 grams of pure fructose, and then 2 of them are going to have electrolytes in it. The other 3 are just going to be plain, so just the maltodextrin and fructose. And what I'm planning on doing is after the first lap, I'm going to swap 3 of the bottles out and then just bring 2 more water bottles onto my bike so I don't really need to come in, stop, fuel, refill everything up. So it's just already going to be refilled, and I just got to swap it out really quick, then head back out on the last 55 miles. But I don't think that's going to be enough for the full 5 hours and 20 minutes. So I'm planning on bringing an RX bar as well, and I'm probably going to bring some dates. And those are going to be my fuel for the ride. I know I've heard that you want about 80 to 100 grams of carbs per hour. I'm not sure exactly what this is going to equal out to. I'll update you later when I do figure the math out. And then if I do end up bringing anything more, if anything, I'm probably just going to end up bringing more dates. Maybe raisins. I could bring more raisins. So as of right now, the only things guaranteed is the 5 bottles of maltodextrin and pure fructose, the RX bar, and the dates. And we'll go from there, figure out where we're at with the carbs and how many hours that gets us, because then we also do have a transition run after the bike, which is only 20 minutes, but that adds in almost 6 hour total of work. So we do want to make sure that we are getting a lot of fuel in our body and that we aren't underfueled. But this is our current plan with all of our drink mixes. The fructose just adds a nice sweetness to it where you don't need to add, say, honey. But I actually might, what I have done in the past is added some tea in it and some peppermint tea, and it actually gives it a really nice flavor to it. So I'll probably actually end up doing that. And then I think it has a little bit of, no, it actually doesn't have caffeine in it. I could switch it up to a different one that does have caffeine. I'm not sure. I'm just rambling right now. But that's going to be the plan tomorrow. I'll bring you along for my breakfast before. I'm probably going to have 2 meals before, and then I'm going to head out, and I'll just bring you along for the day and show you how my first 100-mile ride goes. So just updating you on the actual fueling because I did some of the math. Basically what it comes out to with all the maltodextrin and the fructose, it comes out to 540 grams of carbs total, which is roughly about 100 grams of carbs per hour, which is more than I actually need. So I'm not actually going to be bringing any of the dates. I am going to bring an RX bar just to have as a snack because I really like the RX bars. They're really good, really tasty. So I'm just going to have that as a snack. But I'm just going to be rolling with the 5 bottles, and I'm going to see how that goes. I'll update you afterwards to see if it does actually go well, but that's that's within the range of what I've heard that you really need to be in, within 80 to 100 grams of carbs per hour. So hopefully it goes well, but that's what I'm going to be rolling with. All right, just going to be doing a little bit of bike mechanics here, lubing up the chain before we head out, put some air in the tires. It's a little bit before 6:30, so heading out at the perfect time. I have been having some issues with my shifting, and it's not shifting properly, but there's not much elevation gain here, and it's not windy at all, so I feel like I'll be fine for that. So just gonna get this all done and then head on out. halfway through, just grabbing my bottles to refuel here. Grabbed an RX bar as well. I think I'm gonna need extra mileage. This is probably gonna be close to 120 miles. I think I'm at 2 hours and 25 minutes, 54 miles in. Still got about 2 hours and 50 minutes left. So still a lot left. We're gonna be well over 100 as long as everything goes according to plan. So we're gonna head back out, finish this up. Absolutely massive ride. I can't even think right now. Towards the end of the ride, I was just getting really lightheaded and dizzy. But start of the second loop was straight into the headwind, like destroyed my legs. And my legs have never felt so tired after a ride. But we got it in, 113 miles, really happy with that effort. We gotta get changed real quick here, and then we're heading out on a transition run off the bike. I don't know if it's easy, if it's hard, what it is, but we're gonna be heading out doing that, getting this wrapped up and getting this day done with. All right, all wrapped up on the day. That ride, that was a long ride. Really grateful for my buddy to come along with me because it did make it a little bit more interesting, make it go by a little bit quicker, even though he was just seeing them bits and parts throughout the ride. Nothing too crazy, but he was just taking some videos. So got to talk to him a little bit while I was biking at the same time. But by far my biggest ride. I think my second biggest ride was 97 miles, but the difference was, and it was only like 15 minutes difference, but the difference was I had about 4,000 feet of elevation gain, whereas this one, that does not look right. Right now it's saying 1,300. Garmin's always off on the elevation gain, and then you got to use the Strava data. So let's see what Strava said. 600 feet. See, completely different. So that's like a huge difference between this ride and the last ride that I had, where this ride only 600 feet of elevation gain, the other ride had over 4,000 feet. So it's completely different. But honestly, this ride I felt really good. I started on the second loop, so like the end of the last loop when I was coming back, I basically had a tailwind. I was cruising. And I think it finished at a really good time and made it look a lot better. So when I finished, I was like, okay, I'm going to be cruising. It's going to be a lot better. And I think the wind started picking up the later the day went. But honestly, it started out such a nice day, partly cloudy. And it was just like really cool. It wasn't hot or anything. And then later in the day, clouds started to go away, got a little bit hotter. And I think that contributed to me getting a little bit dizzy and tired towards the end. But it was such a nice day out. I forget what I was saying before, but when actually the loop. So after the second loop, when I started it, I was basically going all the way straight south, and that was basically a whole headwind the entire way, which just sucked the entire time and really drained my legs out. This is also my favorite thing to have post-workout. So nice little smoothie here. We got a banana, we got 3 berries, blend, we got milk, we got egg whites, we got yogurt, and then we put a little scoop of peanut butter in there as well. So when I was heading all the way out, that just destroyed my legs. The wind just absolutely killed them and made them really tired. And I think the fuel really helped a lot. And I just got 2 new bottles. So these 2 bottles are new, and they're a bit bigger than my other ones, so it allowed me to have more water, which I think was good, because I think when I was started to get towards the end, just the sun blaring down on me all day, and just like I need liquids. So I think having those 2 bottles there actually helped a lot, just get more liquids in me. And that's what I was basically doing towards the end when I was like starting to get lightheaded and dizzy, is I'm just going to be drinking these as quickly as possible just to get it in, because I'm not feeling too good and I want to make sure that I can get back safely. So I just started to like chug them, and even though I really tried to time it so it's like 1 bottle per hour, I did a really good job at that. The last bottle I did finish a little bit early just because of that issue, but I timed that really good, and I was like really regimented with that. And honestly, I think that helped out so much. I was just being able to, stay fueled the entire time and like not cramp out, not die, not bonk, as they say. So I think that actually went really well with the fuel. And on the first segment was my intervals, and it was 2 by 15 minutes at a zone 4 effort, and then 2 by 20 minutes at a zone 3 effort. First one was at 80 cadence, and then the zone 4 was at 80 cadence. Zone 3 was at 90 cadence. So I tried to do my best at that. And honestly, when I'm not on hills, it makes it a lot easier to actually stay within the zone. Whereas when I'm on the hills, I'll always be getting the notifications. It's like, you're too high, you're too low, you're too high, you're too low, too high. And it's so annoying because it's just constantly beeping. So with this one, I was fairly steady with it. And just like when I see this, I start to gain a lot of confidence, because it's like, if I just did this in 5 hours and 15 minutes, and I just did a full Ironman distance bike in 5 hours and like 18 minutes. So it just makes me really happy to see that, and just like gives me confidence. And then some workout will come up and it's like, oh man, it just humbles me a little bit. And that's kind of what happened this past week, because my effort levels increased because of my 5K, my power output, so everything kind of increased. And then when I started doing that, it just humbled me really quickly. So yeah, I guess this is my first 100-mile ride, which is really exciting. First Ironman distance ride as well, which is also a little bit interesting. We'll see how my training program kind of goes out, because it basically increases from here. Next week, I think it's 5.5 hours. So I'm going to be going for close to 120 miles. And then like it gets up to 7 hours. So it's like, if I'm doing 7 hours on the bike, that's probably close to 150 miles. So it'll be interesting doing that. And I think it would help, just because like if I'm able to do 150 miles on the bike, doing 112 is going to be nothing. So it's going to be interesting building up and going higher. But first 100-mile ride in the book honestly wasn't too bad. I think stopping halfway through made it a little bit interesting, or made it go by a little bit quicker, just because it broke it up into a couple different segments. And it's not just go for 5 hours and 15 minutes consecutively. So I think that did help a little bit. But overall, really happy with this. average of 21 miles per hour, which is really good. Average watt of 200. So I think if I can average 200 watts on the bike for the Ironman, I'd be really happy with that. And then if I'm able to do well on the run off the bike, which I just did, where 10 minutes easy, 10 minutes at zone 3, and I felt really good, really comfortable on that. So if I'm able to do that for my Ironman, I think I'll be really happy and I'll be looking pretty decent. I don't know if I'll be looking at the spot where I originally wanted to be when I first signed up with my goal of wanting to qualify for Kona. But I mean, I think it puts me in good competition, and at the same time, it's like I'm competitive where I'm not like showing up at 16 hours. I don't really, I'm not there to just finish. I'm there to be competitive. So I think this is really, really nice to see. So really happy with this effort, and we're just going to be going up from here, hopefully. So that's my first 100-mile ride, and I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.